I'm working on the Tercel today. First things first though, I gotta get the 3A out of there. That thing. So some quick facts about my car. It's a 1981 Toyota Tercel. It was Toyota's first attempt at making a front-wheel drive car to compete with the rest of the Japanese market that was currently coming out with front-wheel drives. Unlike Honda's, this thing came with a trans-longitudinal motor instead of a transverse. So the motor went this way, then the transmission went that way, then it went back this way, and then it went that way. So yeah, try to figure that out. But anyways, like when you see it for the first time with the hood popped open, you would think, oh man, this is just a little rear-wheel drive old Toyota. No, that shit's a lie. You look straight down, all you see is axles. And for those of you that have never heard of that before, let me repeat it for you. Trans-longitudinal. Trans-longitudinal. Memorize it. You're gonna need that word somewhere down the path in life and it's gonna help you out. First things first though, I gotta pull that motor out. So let me get to that first. All right, now I got the motor out. Got a nice empty engine bay. I'm gonna clean all that crap up that's under the car because I haven't cleaned under it in a while, and then I'm gonna get back to it. All right, I got the bottom of the Tercel cleaned up. Now I need to get to work on this cross member. This thing is gunked up and filthy. Got the cross member getting off foamy, letting the degreaser do what it does. Be back, give it a little cleanup. In the meantime, I'm gonna take a little smoke break and get out of the sun. That shit's hot. It's too hot. So I got the cross member all cleaned up, and I think this is gonna be where I'm gonna want it to land. So the original cross member that was on here sat all the way forward. And the reason for it is because this was originally a front mounted rack and pinion instead of a rear mounted rack and pinion. So I was gonna use the original cross member since the few amount of people that have rear-wheel drive swap these cars kept them. But I didn't like exactly where the placement of the engine was gonna be. Since this thing originally had a transaxle in it, the engine sat slightly more forward on the front axle and I would rather have it sitting a little bit more rearward. So I am gonna have to cut out the trans tunnel because as you can see, it literally opens up and then dips right in and turns into this small narrow chamber, which yeah, I'm not gonna be able to fit anything in there. Also another reason why I feel like that's gonna be a good placement for that cross member, I get the control arm to land right in the center of the wheel well. So that means I'm not gonna have crazy caster. Plus I'm not gonna have to do anything to the stock strut tower. I can just leave it alone how it is. I'm probably just gonna plate the top just to strengthen it, but it should be cool. So right now comes a really hard lane part where I have to take measurement after measurement after measurement. I'm gonna have to find what points I'm gonna measure from. So I have to do cross-referencing and a few other different measurements to try to figure this out. But hopefully it works out good. It shouldn't take that long. Honestly, maybe a half hour of measuring and I should be able to determine if it's exactly where I want it to be. After that, I might have to go to Home Depot and get myself a bit of steel tube. I'm gonna have to drill into the frame rails and I want to put in a steel tube just to kind of strengthen where it's going to crush, and then I'm going to plate the top of this afterwards. Probably not going to get all the way done with the cross member today, only for the fact that it is a Sunday. I got to spend a bit of time with the family, but I'm going to at least have everything referenced, so then the next time I do touch this car, it's going to be basically on to the next step, on to the next step. So now I got to start measuring. So I measured out the cross member and I have it basically centered exactly where I want it. I have it at 2 3/8 on this end, 2 3/8 on this end, 16 1/8 on this side, 16 1/8 all the way through here. And from each corner to corner, I got exactly 35 7/16. So I'm pretty square. Now, I gotta get the 3AC back in there since I have the motor mounts on it currently, just to see exactly how far back the engine's gonna sit. I gotta make sure that I can clear both of the heater core lines. So yeah, I'm gonna get the 3AC back in. I'm gonna see exactly how it fits, and if I like it, I'm gonna start drilling. So I got the 3AC in, and it's sitting exactly where I wanted it to sit. I have just a little bit of clearance up against the firewall, but I don't mind cutting that out a little bit, just as long as I can get the heater core lines to work correctly, because I can handle the California summer. I'm a pretty big windows down type of guy, but during the winter, I do need my heater. Driving without defrosters and all that other stuff just sucks. So I'm gonna pull the motor back out right now. I'm gonna get everything measured back up, make sure nothing moved out of position, and then I'm gonna start drilling. So I measured everything back out, and this thing stayed square, and it is still square. So I'm gonna go ahead and just jump under the car right now, drill a few holes all the way up to the top, and throw in the hanger bolts just so in that way this thing will be held up. I'm not gonna try to throw a motor in here yet, just because I haven't plated and strengthened out the beams. Once I do that, then I'll feel comfortable being able to throw a motor in here, but for right now, I'm just excited to get the cross member in. Now to get some safety glasses, hop under there and get to it. So I got the A86 cross member fully in this thing, and it is held on And that's without reinforcing any of the frame rails. Once I get a good reinforcement plate in there, I'm sure I'll be able to throw as much weight as I want. But as of right now, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to mock up a motor in this. But I'm just excited that I finally got the A86 crossmember in here. Now I gotta figure out the rack and pinion, where I'm gonna mount the radius rods, and after that, I gotta get sway bar and everything else handled. But for right now, I'm just excited that's done. Hopefully tomorrow I can take a trip to Home Depot so that way I can get some steel tubing. I already got a bunch of steel plate, so I'm not worried about that. That way I can measure everything up, start cutting, and then weld in the new plates. And yes, for anyone that's wondering, I did quadruple check every single measurement and I made sure everything was right. Trust me, I'm really scared of being off on this thing, and the last thing I want is a kink driveline on this. All right, I was capping on that last one. Held up by its own weight. Yes, sir. So that's gonna be the video for today. I'll hopefully have an update for you guys by the end of this week. If not, I'm gonna have some Celica content up. But for right now, it's time to get some dinner going, find a nice little movie to watch, and drink a beer with the wife. You guys have a good one. This is IO Garage.